Alright folks, welcome to today's video. We're going to be showing what to do with the Junkyard LS that we just pulled. You guys saw that in the last video.
Yep.
So pretty much this is not everything that you're going to need to do to prep the thing, but you know, these are your basic steps.
Right now what I'm trying to do is just determine if this motor is something I want to keep or if I want to sell. Mostly if this has Gen 3 internals in it, I don't want anything to do with this thing. So it's just going to be for sale. If it has Gen 4 internals in it, there's a chance this may end up fixing the M3, which is up on the lift right now, with for a heart transplant.
Yeah, so as some of you may know, there's many versions of the LS motor. For guys that are particular like me, I don't consider this to be an LS motor, but in layman's terms, for folks that don't know what they are, you just call it an LS. But anyways, there's a lot of versions of this is what you call a Gen 3 small block Chevy people.
Yeah, this one's actually now Q4.
Yeah, so exact. Yeah, if you want to be really technical with it, this is a Gen 3 small block. You can call it LS architecture because it's very similar to an actual LS motor, but that's a little bit of tidbit that none of you actually really even cares about. I don't even remember where I was going with that, but the point is there's a lot of nuances. There's very small nuances. Thomas in particular cares about the Gen 4 internals. You know, these motors come with different heads, different cams, different accessory setups. So like I said, Thomas is after the Gen 4 internals, and that's what we're going to check for right now. Other issues that you might see, you know, if you're doing this, you may want to go for different accessories depending on what car you're swapping these into. The truck accessories sit out about 1.5 inches longer than the shortest accessories, which would be the Corvette accessories. Unfortunately,
I have truck accessories in the E46.
Oh, okay. So the E46 works with the truck accessories. It all depends on the setup. Like now, the Miata over there, like space is of the essence. You got to be careful with that. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So over here on this side, it looks like all of these header bolts are snapped off.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, not all of them, but I cringed big time when I saw it, and this would be enough for me to like ditch the entire heads. But what? Thomas, like look at that.
Well, no, man, a little
yeah.
Bolt, you get a little bolt, a little weld.
Yeah, Thomas doesn't even care. Like he's laughing at me. So we're gonna show you guys how to get that stuff out, and you know, that way you don't end up spending $500 on a set of heads for your junkyard motor. You know, we're just gonna try and see what we can salvage off of this thing. Obviously, you know, we got a coil pack missing here, whatever. But this is just your first steps when you get your junkyard motor home. Oh, what is that?
Oh no.
Okay, there's like a major turd. Oh my goodness, this is disgusting.
It's got water in it.
This is, oh my goodness. That's nasty.
It looks good, huh?
Okay, so normally this is what you call mayonnaise. You might see something like this on the bottom of your oil cap. This is basically oil mixing with water. It might be indicative of a blown head gasket. I've never seen it in just like one pool. Like, that's disgusting.
That's a good one.
That's gross.
That's a good one.
I don't necessarily know what that means for this because we don't suspect that it has a bad head gasket.
You know, hey, it looks like it got sucked up into there, you know, but
yeah,
maybe not. It's not through. That's not throughout the engine. That's only at the bottom. So there's possibility maybe just some water got in this during the junkyard process.
Yeah, it could have been rained in, and I don't know. That's gross.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Otherwise, it actually looks pretty good.
I know. I'm gonna pull the windage tray off of that thing. And we'll see what rods it has in it.
Yeah. So this is your windage tray. This actually keeps your oil from flying up into your rotating assembly from the oil pan. This is your oil pickup, and this is actually the bottom of your oil pump. So we're going to unbolt this guy here, pull off the pickup tube, pull the windage tray, take a look at the bottom end. The sludge. It's on the move. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's disgusting.
It's really not in the engine at all. It's only just right there.
It's just really weird. It looks like it splattered there when we tipped it over. So maybe during the process, it maybe slid out of the pickup tube, and then it was just all there in the pan. And when we flipped it over, it splattered on there. But anyway, enough of that. All right, so Thomas says, what are we looking for as far as
So we have Gen 4 internals here, and you can tell because there's just a beefier, everything in this area is going to be beefier than the Gen 3 stuff.
Okay.
And it has this squared off kind of look.
Okay.
Looking down in this thing, like I still see cross hatching in the bores. The cam looks really good. There's not a lot of, there's no sludge in this motor, and if you look, like, stuff is still golden. Well, that's just, some water got in it at some point, but it didn't hurt anything.
Okay. All right, so what, cross hashing, let me see. Oh yeah, wow, okay, that looks really clean.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. You definitely still want to check all the bearing clearances and all that, but since it's raining right now, I think we're just gonna wipe that off.
Ew.
And, we'll close this back up and flip it back over.
Okay.
And if we feel like pulling the cam, we could check the cam bearings. But at this point, if I had plastic gauge, which I think I have a little bit, I would start checking the clearances on the bearings.
Okay.
And I would check, I check the whole thing. The bottom end is the mains, these guys.
Yeah,
and
so
the rods.
Thomas has another video where he checks all the things with plastic gauge, so I'll put a link down there in case you guys are curious. Yeah, that's
the card that pops up in the corner. You gotta, it's up there.
Yeah, if I can figure out how to do that, but that's super.
You don't know how to do it?
I think they disabled that, didn't they?
It's still on there. So
okay.
Like step 5 when you upload the video with the new uploader.
All right, I'll take a look.
Last things.
So look right here for the video link, because Thomas says I can do it.
Is it this?
Here, somewhere, one of these places. Hello.
Hello.
And then, yeah, so we're gonna take a peek under the valve cover and see what that looks like under there.
So far.
All right, so we've got the valve covers popped off. It generally looks pretty clean under here. This is the side that was kind of cracked open a little bit.
It was cocked.
Yeah, and a little bit of water got in there. So that's probably where all the water came from that was in the oil pan, making that look really nasty.
There's no baby batter or sludge or anything in this side or that side. There's a little bit of just like, there's a little bit of just
dirt and crud.
Just smuts or whatever, but this looks like a little just beginnings of sludge, possibly, but it's breaking right up, touching it. That's good.
Yeah, but it generally looks pretty clean.
Super fucking happy. It looks good. It looks good.
Okay.
So I got to do a little shout out for Bavarian Genius, my boy Justin over there. And reason is, these pear grip pliers are really good. Sometimes you get lucky. You don't have to weld anything. You can just rip these guys right out.
It's like a pipe wrench.
Look,
oh yeah, it's moving.
See?
I need
the
those.
more you push on it, the harder it bites in.
Awesome.
Oh, it just broke the rest of the way off.
Oh, it broke.
That's okay though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Wow, those things are brittle.
Yeah, they've just been heat treated their whole life basically.
Okay.
But you just take a nut, throw it on there, and then just get it nice and hot. The heat helps break things up and stuff like that anyway.
All right.
So we'll try the other side. I think had one too. They have two on the other side. This one might work for us. I have a success video instead of a fail video. On the cheap.
All right, so Thomas just busted out the Harbor Freight Special 12-ton puller.
This is a broken, customized piece of it.
Oh wow, you fixed it. Okay.
Yeah. So I cut grooves into this deal so that I can get in and do things like remove LS crank pulleys easier. And
Oh, so that's not a crank puller. That's just like.
This is just a 12-ton puller in general.
Oh.
And I've modified it to make it work in different situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not too hard. You just want to grab it from the inside if you can, like that. But the issue is the unit is so big.
Yeah.
Basically.
So I'll show you guys in just a second the tool that I use. All right, so this is my crank puller, and that's actually the brand that I have. Get these on Amazon. This is the best thing you can possibly use to pull a crank on an LS. Not sure what else is good for because I don't work on a whole lot of different engines. But this is basically the setup. It's got your push rods here. I'm not going to demonstrate how to use it because I just don't have anything to demonstrate on right now. But basically, this claw grabs on to the inside of your crank pulley, and you put that screw in there and you wind it out that way. It's pretty simple to use. All right, so we've got the extractor 8 million hooked up, and we're on the move.
It doesn't ask, it does.
Yes. All right, so basically took a wire brush and cleaned the area.
Yep.
Is you know, as good as it can be cleaned, I guess.
And because that's a steel bolt and an aluminum head, you can very easily weld straight to that steel bolt without welding the aluminum to anything. And if you do accidentally weld it to it, most likely the aluminum's going to just break right off. And if you eat this hole out a little bit, it's not that big of a deal because it's not a sealing surface. But I'm going to start by putting a little bit of a booger on the end of this to try to really get some heat into that. If you get lucky, you can spin it out just with the booger, but if not, then you'd use a nut and you would spin it out with a nut. It snaps off, or if it shits at something.
All right, so we got a little tail sticking out right there. Oh, you can't even see it. Hold on.
It was glowing earlier. You saw it then.
All right.
But we had porosity at the beginning of this weld, so most likely this is just going to snap right off. Most likely.
Oh, is it turning?
Oh, it looks like it is turning.
Oh, snap.
Never mind, we got it.
I mean, not snap, but you know.
Not snap, the opposite of snapping.
Yeah.
The heat on this probably helps a lot too.
Okay.
Because the steel and the aluminum obviously will expand at a different rate. And that'll help break whatever was really holding it in there. So this actually spun right out very easily.
Awesome.
And this was the one we broke earlier before, right?
Yeah.
Trying to spin it out with these.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it snapped right off.
Came right out. So, yeah, kids, if you don't know that trick, this is a good one. Will save you from having to replace your heads or take it to a machine shop to have somebody. That's all they're going to do.
Charge you probably $200 to do that.
Something.
All right, so right now we're getting ready to check the cam. As you can see, we've got the cam cover, the timing cover off, and we're getting ready to pull all the rockers off. And normally you would have to take the heads off and pull the lifters out if this was in a car. But since this is out of a car, we're actually just going to flip the engine upside down, which is going to cause the lifters to go up towards the heads and they won't fall down.
As long as the lifters aren't so seized up that they can't do that. Because I had that 5.3, the lifters were actually stuck in the engine. I had to rip them out with pliers.
Hopefully they're not stuck. Sometimes they do get stuck. Underneath the cam cover is, you know, maybe a 6 out of 10. It's a little bit crusty, but that's kind of to be expected. We'll see what it looks like when we flip this thing and pull the cam out. Alright, so basically you've got all the timing gear and stuff off now. What Thomas is doing is just spinning this thing over it to kind of knock the lifters out towards the heads. And because
they'll fall down into the block further out of the way.
Yep.
That way you can pull the cam out. Hopefully I can get it out right now. There it is.
Yeah, pulling the cam out is always a little bit tricky, but just go very slowly and carefully, otherwise you'll knock your cam bearings out, and you don't want to do that.
It's possible. So this looks like a factory cam, as you would suspect. Looks like it's been in there for its whole life.
Ew.
Yeah, that's just some residual stuff.
Oh, it runs.
Yep.
Hold on, let me get a close-up of it. Here it is. The goo.
Yeah, buddy.
Ugh. Okay. Alright, so basically what Thomas was explaining here is we do have some wear.
Right there.
As you can see. Yeah, well, let's get focused. Yeah, put the light on it. There you go. Alright, so we do have some wear right there, that orange spot. Yeah, it's copper or brass or whatever that is.
Yep.
You don't want to see that, but it's not horrible.
I've seen worse.
Yeah.
I've seen worse, and I've seen people run it.
Yeah.
So you could send this, or, you know, if you don't care too much about the engine, then, you know, just send it. But if you do care, you might want to get those bearings replaced. I mean, especially if you're going to put it in something that you want to not have to mess with later down the road.
Yep. All right, folks, so that is pretty much the procedure you want to follow for checking out any Junkyard LS or any Junkyard engine that you get, or any used engine that you get that you plan on motor swapping. What you saw there was minimally invasive. The stuff that we did pull apart, you are going to need to replace those gaskets for the most part. Sometimes your timing cover gasket can be reused, especially if you throw a little bit of silicone on that. I would highly recommend replacing your oil pan gasket after what we did. Anytime, that's just always good to replace, and it's almost impossible to replace once you put an engine into a car. But like I said, this is a minimally invasive procedure. If you wanted to go any further, you're gonna have to pull the heads, which I would definitely recommend, but that gets a little bit more costly because you're gonna have to replace your head gaskets and your head bolts. Altogether, that's about $200 worth of materials, plus the gaskets that you already pulled off, such as your oil pan gasket and your cam thrust plate, which we didn't show. This is a brand new cam thrust plate right now, which you guys are actually gonna see me use in a couple of days here. So that's coming up. Besides that, as you can see behind me, I've gone ahead and got myself another Junkyard engine. I don't necessarily have any plans for this motor just yet. I just kind of want to build it up, refresh it, make sure it's ready to go, just in case something was to happen to the Drift Fox engine. But ideally, hopefully, I'll never actually put this engine into the Drift Fox. Maybe there'll be another project car, you know, in the coming years or such. But it's just, for what we do, it's good to always have a second motor on hand. So that's basically what that's there for. That's gonna be the project motor. Not sure if I'm gonna really do any videos on that one because it's gonna be a while before that motor is the way that I want it to be. Hopefully, if everything's ideal. So I plan on just piecing that one together over time. Besides that, thanks for watching the videos. I normally don't ask you guys to like and subscribe. However, if you liked the video and you felt as though the information was valuable, I would encourage you to at least hit the like button on that. That way that gives other people a chance to see this video as well and find it based on their search results. Doesn't really make a much difference to me. I'm just glad that I'm able to share the information. But if you would like to share this information, definitely hit that like button on the video. That allows other people an opportunity to see this thing as well. Besides that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.